oops, sorry. We have one from Dr. Ron McGarry. And the question is, I have a patient in 2006 who had a C5 vertebra removed and replaced with a donor vertebra, and he questioned if it was cadaver. He now presents to my office with right-sided body weakness on the myotome testing. Myotome testing is referring to the muscle strength testing of the nervous system. He's weak from C7 down, which is, for those of you that don't know, C7 is associated with the tricep function. It's also associated with thyroid and lung function. C6 and above, he tests strong, so that's the upper cervicals. Obviously, he has had some neurological trauma that is blowing his whole right-sided circuit from C7 downward. My question is, do you have any tricks up your sleeve for approaching this problem? So in quantum neurology, and I thank Dr. Ron for the question there, in quantum neurology, we focus on plugging the nervous system back in. Again, I like teaching conceptually because understanding concepts will allow you to take these concepts and apply them to all your patients, as opposed to if I just give you the answer for this case, you know, it's not likely you're going to find many people with the exact same presentation of global right-sided weakness. Although that does happen, you don't see that every day. So the concept in quantum neurology is to plug the nervous system back in. We want to focus on every major nerve of the body. And the way we do that in quantum neurology is by strengthening the myotomes and the cranial nerves. And I say that's just like plugging in the nervous system physically on that physicality level. And we do that by checking the myotomes. Myotomes refer to the muscles innervated by a single nerve. And classically, through traditional neurology, the gold standard of neurological testing, we use the same tests that are done and taught to doctors around the world for evaluating the nervous system. So we test the levels of S1 all the way through C5. So from the sacral nerves, we check the sacral and lumbar nerves in the legs. We check the cervical nerves in the upper arm or in the arms, and then we have different range of motions and things that we evaluate to achieve optimum function as quickly as possible. So in a nutshell, we check every nerve level. Whatever nerve is not functioning appropriately, we have a patented system of correction. In that patented system, it takes about 5 to 10 seconds to recover each nerve. So that's from testing it, finding the location of correction, and using light therapy, manual techniques, or adjusting instruments, either one, and light therapy, we're able to restore that nerve function in 5 to 10 seconds. And for those of you that don't have experience with that, that's profound. If you can't get excited about restoring nerve function in seconds, quantum neurology is not for you. You know, ultimately, we look at people's dysfunctions. I call it their infection, injury, illness, or condition. And we're not treating those infections, injury, illnesses, or conditions. We are simply strengthening the nerves that have been compromised because of their injury, illness, infection, or condition. We're strengthening the nervous system. That's the whole focus. And what we've realized clinically is that when we strengthen the nervous system, the body heals itself. And we've seen this time in and time again. So more specifically, for Dr. Ron's question here, we want to focus on strengthening the myotomes of his entire body. And Dr. Hoppenfeld, a famous neurologist who wrote the book that most of us may have used in school for orthopedic testing, he said the most important neurological test is the test from right to left. So the same level nerve from the right side should have equal strength or capabilities on the left side. And so that's something that I would really focus on is making sure that there's a balance between nerve function in this patient, as well as going into what we call the cranial nerve work. The cranial nerve work is where we evaluate and correct every cranial nerve function in the body. There's 12 cranial nerves that we work with, and I don't want to list them all out because it takes a little bit of time, but your cranial nerves are focusing on your body's ability to interact with its external environment, your 5 senses, your seeing, hearing, smelling, taste, and touch. And we have ways of testing this and integrating it very quickly. So that would be the step one, the foundational component of helping a person like this get well. And again, the same concepts are going to apply to other questions that we have. Again, I call that plugging in the nervous system. And then when we get somebody to the point of plugging in their nervous system and all the nerves are strengthened when tested individually, what we do is I call that being in neutral. The patient is neutral when we challenge the nervous system this way, and everything is intact. And then what we do is we do GPOI testing. GPOI testing refers to a concept that I developed. GPOI stands for Gonzalez point of interruption. And this is where we find the hidden weaknesses within the nervous system. It's a dynamic way of evaluating the nervous system through its function. So unlike, I'm a chiropractor. I'm not sure who's on the call here, but the different professions have different ways of evaluating the body. Most people do evaluations while the patient is seated or laying down, not in a functional capacity. And when we're doing GPOI testing, we have the patient standing up and moving and taking certain positions, and we're looking for the hidden weaknesses within the nervous system. So I would recommend looking at the patient in this way and really challenging their body from the right side to the left side to evaluate and see where these hidden weaknesses are. And that would be my suggestion on this without getting too advanced. But I feel that when you're dealing with somebody that has one of these global weaknesses, you have to look at the cranial nerves in a very deep way. That's, I say to my doctors all the time, if you want to change somebody's life, do the cranial nerves. And if you want to see miracles in your practice every day, do the cranial nerve work on every patient that walks through the door. It is such a profound change to live your life with your nervous system expanded, to have all of your cranial nerves functioning, and the understanding that you get after you have that done to yourself is, wow, I could see more clearly, I could hear more accurately. I don't get fatigued when I'm working so much, or when I read, I don't fall asleep when I'm reading anymore. All these little functions that we rehabilitate, they add up to quality of life. And so when we're talking about a neurotypical or somebody who has a normal nervous system or a typical nervous system, those things aren't so obvious. And when we correct those, each correction adds up to a higher quality of life. When somebody is damaged, it is significant. It is life-changing. It will bring tears to your eyes when you see the results that could happen with people that have these issues and they're restored. So let's move on here.